Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Fantasy Football University, FFU, coming at you yet again in the off season. We are getting so close to the regular season. We are getting so excited here. I'm Mr. Bill DeCousis. I'm here with Mr. Tom Lang. Mr. Lang, how you doing, sir?
Oh, I am doing well. It's the early morning of Tuesday, the 25th, just so we can let everybody know that. And it's fantasy football season when you know that ESPN has their marathon.
Yeah, that ridiculous thing. In ESPN, man, they're they need to step their game up when it comes to like fantasy in general. Like and
Credible people that actually talk fantasy.
yeah, and the thing is like even their specific show, Fantasy Focus, which I like the
Yeah.
most important person on that show is Stefania Bell because she covers all like she's always on point with all of the injuries. But the way that some of these other people draft and sometimes Field Yates with some of his analyses, like it's a little bit off the deep end
Yeah,
sometimes.
Field Yates. I was watching like the beginning phase of the marathon last night, and like his first segment, his first or second segment, I lost complete credibility. I it's funny because you have him and then Mike Clay, and Mike Clay does know a lot about fantasy football. He's more analytic and he's more broken down and realistic. Um, and he just like was shaking his head at Field Yates like his analytic. He was it was really funny. Um and they just go back and forth, and then just because Field Yates is like the controller of the show, um
Right.
everybody's got to listen to him. No, nobody's got to listen to him, guys. Don't listen to that guy.
What's
That's why he
ama
comes in last place every single year.
well, what's amazing is, and I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall from the ESPN politics when this happened. So remember years ago, it was Roto. It was Michael. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, I'm gonna forget his name.
Michael Matthew Berry.
Matt Berry. You're right. He was the guy on ESPN. He was the guy leading the charge. He was like always the guy for fantasy. And then at some point they brought in like as fantasy started growing or whatever, they would have like some different people and Field Yates would be like, his like underling. And then it was just like all of a sudden now Matt Berry's no longer with ESPN and Field Yates takes over everything, like at some point. I mean, which is fine, but I'm amazed that like it went into that progression, I guess.
Well, it's
But
because Berry realized, what kind of fraud this was turning into, and he was like, "I got to keep my credibility." And I mean, Matthew Berry still has some good analytics. I mean, honestly, like and I guess maybe the contract was up, or he was asking for too much money, but the guy still has a good show, I believe, Matthew Berry, and I mean, he's a little overzealous with some of his stuff,
yes, you're
but
right.
I mean, they all are though. They all, I mean, here my big thing is NFL NFL Network was bought by ESPN. Now and so like in the marathon last night, they integrated my least favorite fantasy football analyst in in Adam Rank. That guy just like they were talking about players that you should draft pre like a couple rounds before they're projected. This guy was talking about players that were not even draftable. Like I get it. Maybe like you talk about him and say like this is your last round flyer, but like you can't talk about players that are like ADP is like 250 or 270. Like they're not drafting. They're not being draftable players. Like just say, oh, take a late round shot on this guy. Don't put that in your segment as like everybody else was talking about players maybe in the 10th, 11th round that you should maybe shoot to strive to draft them a round or two early, stuff like that for their projections. Um, but this guy's just like
You
I
got
don't
you
know.
got you got to remember that like a lot of these guys they do what they can to as
Shoot their
anybody else
shot.
would like make a name for themselves and what can I say that'll get me clicks or whatever and what can I say that'll be a hot take and this and that. I mean
It's
fine
funny though. A lot of people
fine
probably
but
people that watch the show and people that watch our TikToks probably think the same exact thing. But the thing about it is, I will say this: the thing about it is, we do different than everybody else. is we actually bring up the numbers. We talk about like, if we're talking about Baker Mayfield, we're talking about his offensive line, right? His offensive line that's going to actually keep him healthy through the year. His weapons that basically actually are going to help him progress. He is a top five quarterback. He's been a top five fantasy quarterback. He just was injured last year, right? So like we can articulate our reasons behind it. They're not doing that. They're just saying, here's a guy. They're like literally
Right.
just, this is the guy that we need to go out there and go get. No reason behind it. Just go out there and get him. I
Right.
just think he's going to have a great season and he's going to be the RB2.
Right. And there's other guys that maybe we have an unfounded like liking towards for whatever reason, but we're not suggesting you to draft. Like, for example, like I might really like Casey Concepcion, like, and I loved him as, like I
Yeah,
loved him coming out of
go out
college.
and get him in the fifth
I,
round.
I am never, and especially now we're going to talk about Cleveland in a little bit. I'm not advocating to draft him at all,
No.
but I could still like just as a funny thing, like, oh yeah, he's our boy or whatever. Tommy has the same thing with guys he might like Dimey Brown. You're not hearing Tommy say to draft him in the seventh round or anything like that.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's just stuff like that. And, it's interesting that you bring up the whole ESPN and Field Yates thing, and then of course Matthew Berry, whatever. So the way that it is now, I like Matthew Berry's analysis obviously way better
Yeah.
than ESPN's, for example. But I hate his show. Like his show, it's just like it's these stupid little puns and these stupid
I just watched
and
the
he
clips. I just watched the clips that basically, go straight to the business. I don't watch the full show.
right, but and as a fun little nugget here for you. So like the Fantasy Focus and Field Yates' show or whatever, I don't like their analysis much, but obviously their show's a lot better. They get to the stuff and they at least talk about it. Stefania Bell's great when she talks about the injuries. But I don't like their analysis as much. But here's what you might not realize it turned into that show and subsequently like the people who work behind the show, those are the people who are actually doing those projections
Yeah.
and rankings on ESPN's fantasy site, the
Yeah.
site that is the most popular fantasy site on the internet. So when you go and see projections and you see, oh, Jonathan Taylor for 14 points this week project, that's them doing it,
Yeah, and so
their
I mean,
team.
they basically pretty much give the script to the actors and
So
the
it's a self-fulfilling
insiders, right?
prophecy. So
Yeah.
I laugh because I laugh that because they'll go and bring that up on the show, like, yeah, well, it's looked like I'm thinking about this because he's projected for this and like you're the ones who did the projections. So
Hmm.
it's like like it's of course that's what the projections are. You guys did them. You're commenting on your own projections. So like I don't know. I sometimes I get a kick out of it. They're in charge of that.
I
There's a
will
lot of
also
other.
say just because you're an insider doesn't mean that you're good at fantasy football and understand how to project for the week to come. So,
No, not every time, and that's why I like giving credit where credit's due. Like I really like Stefania Bell because she knows what she's talking about, and she's always on point with the injuries. So we give
she
credit.
she does sometimes draft really bad, but she's good with her analytics in the
Yes.
season.
Well, sometimes people draft, not the best, whatever. Not everybody can be perfect, but we're not just endlessly talking crap about the various names we could bring up.
Yeah, correct.
Another thing is, and we'll get to this a little bit. Like I just want to say, like, just in terms of sports commentary now, everything is turned into a podcast. Everything is turned into a YouTube show. Everything is turned into that. Top among which is you got the two biggest names, which would be Rich Eisen and Dan Patrick on the internet or whatever. Both of whom guys who I like. But one issue, and we'll talk about this when it comes to guys or whatever. My issue with Rich Eisen is that I like almost everything that he has to say, but one blind spot that he has is there will never be a player that he doesn't say pay him for. Every single player, it's pay him. Every one of them. Oh, they're going to have to back up the Brinks truck and do this and that. Every single player, to whether it's to the detriment of the team, whether it's that player even or it doesn't matter. It's pay him, pay him, pay him, pay him. And there's the co-host on his show. I forget the guy's name. He's always like, well, has this player actually deserved this? Do they actually need to do this? Yeah, and that's a good point. And so,
Yeah.
case in point, like you have a couple quarterbacks, some of whom we talked about on on the going into the third year show onto the contract show, like in our qualitative metrics, like they're going to get paid just because that's the next person on the list. That's a stupid reason for that to happen. There's a lot of other players who are halfway holding out and this, that they're going to get paid just because that's the thing they have to do. Like that we've gotten to this place where it's just an endless escalation of money, and it's going to end up having where people are constantly in contract disputes
Yeah, I
before
mean,
the end of the
I
season.
understand sometimes when they're talking about, you should just pay this guy, you should pay this guy. I mean, for example, like the Buccaneers should have just paid, Baker Mayfield to the point like where because he had a down year last year, they're paying him for what his worth was, pretty much lump sum from what he did from the beginning of his career at Tampa to last year's regression in a sense because of the injury, right? They should have came to a solution because what's going to happen is this year is it's going to increase the market, right? So like there are certain times like when teams need to like just narrow down and just pay the person, but there are times like where they need to just sit and wait, on certain things.
Right, but like to that point, whatever is going to happen with Baker, like CJ Stroud's going to end up making more money than Baker Mayfield, for example, and see has CJ Stroud earned that? And no,
No, yeah.
no, like for example, I mean, there's lots of other players we could talk about that applies to, but that was just top of mind.
Hey, Daniel Jones got paid very nicely, handsomely with the Giants, and then actually performed with the Colts. So
Well, God bless him. Well,
another
not
here another guy that's waiting to get paid and maybe waiting to play in the beginning of the season. Tyreek Hill is not expected to sign before week 1. He basically what he's doing. Obviously Tyreek Hill. I
he's
think
doing that. He's doing the Aaron Donald. He's waiting until after training camp so he doesn't have to do
well
it.
that, but then also I don't know. I think he's he may have missed a little bit of a step from the injury. I mean he had a major injury that happened
He might be
early
done.
last
Yeah.
season. No, but I don't think he's done. I think he's going to attempt to come back. I think the thing is he's going to work it out and just basically just make sure that he's healthy at least 80%, and then he's going to hope that he can progress and get better as speed game speed goes on, but I think he's going to wait to sign with a contender and just not sign obviously he wants to go back to the Chiefs. That's just his optimal goal. I mean we talked about it all off season. I believe I'm like 99.9% sure that's where he's going to go. He wants to make sure that they're actually going to be a 4-0 team, not a 0-4 team. So,
Well, if they're judging by the way Justin Fields had been playing quarterback, then especially during preseason, then that's not a good boding well. But like it's looking more and more towards
well,
Patrick
again,
Mahomes playing from
they
week
don't need
one.
it because
So,
apparently Patrick Mahomes is perfectly healthy
I know we should have.
somehow.
I wish I should have did that as an ice bath bet with you because you were so wrong on that count. If that's the case,
I think it's ridiculous that he's healthy. I think that injury was overplayed, but we're not going to go into that,
no,
as
I don't
much.
think. I don't
Um,
think it was overplayed. I just don't
and
think
then
that at that position you need to do as much from a you know what I mean, like from a I need to be
I
running at full
highly
speed
disagree.
perspective.
I highly disagree. Anyway, we're not getting into the Patrick Mahomes saga again. Um,
Well, let's talk about some
J
other stuff.
let's well
Yeah.
injury. We could
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about injury. Jaden Higgins,
Yes.
he basically officially on season-ending IR.
That's right.
Tore his ACL in practice, and the team scrambled for wide receivers. That just means that Tank Dell is not 100%, I
Right.
believe.
Right.
So they were eyeing on Josh Reynolds, but that didn't work out there. They signed Sterling Shepard, they signed Zay Jones, and then they make a trade for Kayshon Boutte.
Right. And well, I guess that's to be expected, but people were like, "Oh, therefore Tank Dell wasn't right." Like we knew that it's been a while. So like to
Yeah.
getting him up to, game speed or whatever. And there's a chance that he'll never get back to superstardom, like for
I
the
mean,
chat.
Tank Dell is, I mean, he just like just seeing him in pads too, he's just so small. Like
I know.
it's
I know.
just I think he's smaller than what he was.
I you're 100% right. I mean, they've got an interesting cast of characters for their wide receiver position outside of Nico Collins now. Like I'm sure we'll be talking about them throughout the season, a lot of whom will be like, hey, this week maybe throw in Boutte or something, like we'll just have to see how that
Butte
shapes.
is a touchdown maker, man. He's a boomer bust, but he does know how to catch the ball inside the 20.
So, but it does, in my opinion, it makes Dalton Schultz much more. like bolstered. Again, Dalton Schultz is not the sexiest tight end pick. He isn't.
No,
But
for
but
me, for me, this is a massive look at the running back room, and they're going to really lean on David Montgomery. But David Montgomery is going to have a massive impact this year.
yeah, so there's a lot of chatter about that, about Woody Marks being how much involved is he going to be? I mean, Woody Marks is having a good preseason. I still think that they brought in David Montgomery for a reason, and the fact that he's not playing in preseason bolsters that.
Yeah,
Like it makes like he's the guy or whatever. But if I'm the David Montgomery owner, I might make a point to try to get Woody Marks towards the end of the draft. You
100%.
know,
They're the identical, but on a better team, version of Pollard and Spears. That's what they are.
I don't know if it's the same because they try to 50-50 those guys. I mean.
It's going to be
I would
about
say it's a worse
it's going to be
version of
about a six
Kyron and Corum,
it's going to
maybe.
be about a 60-40. It's going to be about a 60-40. They're going to use, obviously, they're going to use David Montgomery inside the 20, outside the 20, but it's going to be, what's his name? I just yeah, the what you call it? The
Marks.
Marks. Woody
Mhm.
Marks is going to be the passing down back. He's going to get a little bit of play action opportunity here and there. But it's going to be a heavy dose on the important plays with Montgomery, and he's going to regain that big role there.
Yeah, there's lots of other little notes on the injury front. There's been groins and not groins. There's been hamstrings and not hamstrings. Some people have returned, some people have not returned. There's been more serious ones, less serious ones. That you have the whole Ashton Genty saga of he's out for the season. Oh, no, he isn't.
Yeah, that was scary.
Messing everybody's draft up who drafted for 2 seconds and then he's fine. People should have been a little more, pay attention to the news and stuff on that. Excuse me. So obviously there's other guys that it's a bit more serious than not, but there was a lot of action though over the past weekend of a lot of teams that played. What are some other notes that caught your eye?
Um, your Jets. Whatchamacallit, Mr. Geno Football anymore. Smith actually had a fantastic drive. And I was very enticed to watch him move the ball like that. And yes, this is preseason, but the ones were going on both sides. And he was, and again, I obviously, first drives are scripted. They're made to look good and hopefully they can pan out. But Mechie was playing well. He was making some big catches. And
I
then
know he's
obviously,
one of your guys, Mechie.
not, I mean, this is more of a reason why I think that Wilson is going to have a huge year.
Oh,
Garrett
I agree.
Wilson is going to get hyper targeted. One of the biggest things, and not to talk so much, not to poo-poo so much on ESPN, but
We'll do it anyway.
ESPN is stay away from Garrett Wilson. Like, first off, his ADP is perfect for what he's going to perform. The
Certainly.
guy in 7 games last year, he was the leading Jets wide receiver throughout the entire season.
By
So,
far. Yeah.
I know by yards and everything.
No, I'm
Like he
saying
was,
by
yeah.
far, yeah.
And so, why are you going to push away off a guy that had no quarterbacks for the past 2 years? Like this guy, and also if we look at the quarterback situation last year, that says a lot because Justin Fields was horrendous. So you got Geno Smith who's going to force the ball. Um, Garrett Wilson's going to go up there and get the ball. And we already know what he can do with a star player and make him into something. I mean, so it just, you know, he it's gonna be a more positive experience for Garrett Wilson this year, especially in PPR format. It's gonna be really, really good. And any type of reception format, even standard, because inside the red zone, if it's not going to go to Brees Hall and he's not going to get the heavy, touches there. I mean, more than likely, I'd probably say 80% of the time, the first target, the first read is going to be Garrett Wilson, and sometimes it might just be forced. And
Well, yeah, but I'm not gonna, because even you had that standard draft and you mentioned like how late you got Garrett Wilson, which I thought was very good at the point at which you got him. But I'm able to understand from a like in a standard league, his value sincerely drops. Um, you gotta think. how many scoring opportunities are the Jets going to be getting? Way less than another team, for example. Like he's not going to, I would never project him out for double digit touchdowns this year. I just don't think that's in the cards for him. I think that Geno Smith is a terrible quarterback, but I think he's better than
But
what they
what's
had,
but
you
what's
know?
the average? What's the average of wide receivers scoring double digit touchdowns after the past after like 4 or 5 wide receivers on in the NFL for a season? It doesn't
I
happen to that. It doesn't happen a lot.
no, it happens fair,
But what I'm
like it
saying is,
depends on elite guys,
I
but
could see him scoring 7 to 9 touchdowns, almost breaking double digits.
I
And
it's seven touchdowns, 7 to 8 touchdowns to me is very reasonable. But what you said is right. Like from a PPR perspective, he's going to be an absolute monster, absolute monster. He's the entire offense when it comes to the passing game. And Gino, God bless him, he at least can be able to functionally get him the ball in a way that hasn't happened in the last couple
yeah,
of years. So there's no reason that anybody should be poo-pooing that, especially where he's going in drafts. Nobody's drafting him in the first or second round. So no, he's going to be very good. Any other things you want to notice? Because I want to spend like 5 to 10 minutes on Cleveland here.
well then I'll skip on that news there. I'm just trying to track through my notes real quick. Obviously, we spoke about Keyshawn Boutte. Trey Benson did get waived by the Cardinals, so that just shows that it's Algier. It's obviously Love, after the high ankle sprain when he comes back, and it looks like they're going to keep Connor. That my perspective, it looks like they're going to keep Connor there.
Hmm.
We spoke about Najee Harris being signed by the Giants last week, right? I believe.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, because of Tyrone Tracy not being able to block.
Right. By the way, I think that maybe we should really reevaluate thoughts on Cam Scatterbo.
I don't.
It's
It's
you
I mean,
don't at all.
no, if anything, that bumps him up.
I don't know, man. I'm a little bit worried about what's going on in that backfield. And also, I
Okay.
don't think we're giving enough
Cam
credence.
Skattebo is there's nothing to worry about Skattebo. He
They
is
the
going.
Giants have not looked good and have not like the vibes have not been good at a preseason. And I don't like Matt Nagy at all.
Okay, I think that is just your only problem is you just don't like Matt Nagy. That's it.
That's
So,
one of the
the Giants
problems.
have not been not looking good. The Giants been fine.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Let's
fine.
slice it anyway. All right. We can talk about Cleveland here.
Sure. I mean, that's the last licks because we ain't talking about the Giants anymore. And you're just
Yeah.
putting out bad juju for no reason out there.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, speaking of bad juju, I have such an oh my gosh. All right, let's call the news. Deshaun Watson has been named the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Okay,
It's after a really bad interview and the boo session in
I know,
Cleveland.
and it's going to continue. There's so many aspects to this, but let me just there's like the laundry list of reasons as to for him to like not fully grasp why he's getting booed. The level of delusion of oh my God, you could not create a player that you dislike more. But let's count the reasons as to
Well,
why because
let me just say something because he goes he in his and he I'm not going to quote it to a T because I don't have it in front of me, but he goes, "I don't know why they don't like me." And then he said, "I have not done anything in my life that I do not regret."
oh my God.
And that was when he said that, I was like,
But
uh,
by the way,
are you in a different friggin' world?
the fact that he said that, I believe that he believes that.
Oh,
I believe
100%.
I believe that he doesn't give
The
one.
reason why, do you
Oh,
want to know the reason why? It's because he's already made his money.
that's the point. So we need to
He's just chilling.
we need to break this down. He that was the most honest press conference you could have gotten out of that kind of a player. The only thing he didn't say, which I think he really wanted to say, which was just like, "Hey, F you already got my money." That's essentially he could have said that. That would have been the last
I mean,
thing.
that's literally what he said. He said, I don't care. You guys paid me.
Right.
You
Well, he
only
didn't
owe
he
me.
never said the money thing. He never
Well,
said that.
no, he didn't, but like he's inciting that, right? He's
Right.
saying that without saying it. The biggest thing though is it's the craziest thing because, even if they were to release him, which they should. Honestly, he should have been released in the offseason. He would not be on a roster. I mean, if he was on a roster, there wouldn't be any question about him
But
being a starter.
but the cap hit that he takes if they would have released him, I think they have to do it one more season, which is why they're purposely making him the starter. This is a decision that's coming from above that they're like, we have to get him in there because of all that money that they invested in it. Why else would they do it?
I mean, I 100% agree on that. I understand why, why they're doing it. I just think it's really, really bad for the fan base.
That's
It's,
horrific.
and honestly, if I was a Cleveland Browns fan, I would make sure that's a ghost town. Nobody shows up for week
I
one
To be honest with you, well, you
or
know
in
that
week whatever, week two or three. I think it's week three because they have two back-to-back road games.
well, God bless them. I mean, they're a very fervid, a lot of fervor in that fan base.
Honestly,
They're
maybe
gonna
maybe
show up and boo him. That's what they're gonna
well
do.
that, but honestly, maybe what they do is the two road games with Deshaun Watson's the start, and they're like, he sucks. This is terrible. And then they basically throw in Shador, and it has record-breaking, ticket sales.
I suppose. By the way, the situation is so you couldn't create a more potent situation for us to be on Shador Sanders' side.
Yeah.
And we had a whole episode talking about Shador Sanders last. Like, I'm so on his like. This is so ridiculous, and I just wanted to list out like I'm not gonna directly talk about. Everybody knows what he did. Everybody knows what he did. You guys, if you don't know, go ahead and look it up. We're not gonna get too much into it. Okay. Everybody knows what he did. You have that situation, which was rewarded by the largest guaranteed contract in NFL history.
At the time.
He was given that contract, and in return, he gave them what, like over the course of the last 6 years, whatever it is, 5 years that it's been, 4 or 5 years, what, like a total of 13 games over however many seasons, 5 seasons or whatever it is. Like maybe I'm getting the numbers wrong, but it's very, very close to that.
Yeah, it's I think it was 2020 when he was signed.
So
Or no,
not only
2021 because he had a full year off.
so not only has he failed personally, he has failed professionally, and two other aspects to it, which makes just adds the brew here. Absolutely no humility at all, no regrets, like you said, no regrets of anything, no apologizing. Forget the personal thing. No one will be like, well, I need to be a better quarterback. No, none of that. None of he is because he doesn't care. You give a child a little bit of, they don't care. He was given 200. If it was him, he could just be like, F you, I got my money. I could just sit home. That's it. He
He's
could
an
have just
embarrassment of the Clemson name.
right. I know you're the Clemson guy. He doesn't. He This was as bad as he is. He's the worst guy. Blah 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 blah. The Cleveland Browns ownership should be. They really should sell the team because of how they handled this and who they rewarded. This is ridiculous. This was so bad. And for him to, that's why it's like that press conference, it just says everything. It says it all. They're
Well,
only putting him in there because of the money, and then at the end of the season they're going to release him, and they're tanking for the whole because he's going to be terrible. It's going to be
I'll
an awful
tell you something
season.
right now. If they tank and they basically and they lose out and they're the worst team in football, well then they have another quarterback controversy going into next year with Arch Manning and Shedeur Sanders.
Well, they might, but we'll
It's
see what
going
happens.
that will be that'll be truly embarrassing for the sport of football and the NFL.
So from a fantasy perspective, which I can't even believe we got to bring it back to that, like I really like Harold Fannin, but it's hard to get behind him in that
I'm telling you
situation.
something right now. I'm still in best ball drafting Shedeur Sanders in every single league because he's my third or fourth quarterback, for late season. And I tell you something right now, when he comes out and he gets the go as a starter, he's going to be putting up points.
I don't know.
He's going to be forcing it. And the guy's going to make a lot of mistakes, but he's going to be pretty much the new Jameis Winston of football.
Well, then that's high praise coming from somebody who we did nothing but criticize him for
Yes, I know, but the
last.
guy, now, like you said, now I'm kind of like on his side with this sense. I don't like him as his attitude, but he hasn't been really coming out talking so much. So like he's really like toned it down, to an extent. So you want a guy that wants to go out there and play, and he's like obviously the team made the decision, blah 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 blah, whatever it is, but he knows he's going to get out there and play. He knows he's going to be the starter for a good majority of the year because he
We don't.
knows who's in front of him is trash.
I know, but he's already trash now, and he's a trash human being, Deshaun Watson, and they're still naming him the starter. If Deshaun Watson, like the only
Well,
way for
here's the
him,
thing though too, like Todd Monken, I mean, the guy he can lose his job in a year, if the team is not winning as well too, or if the team is not progressing.
I know, but it could just be a throw it to the wolves type of thing. I mean, unless Deshaun Watson, excuse me, unless he literally just sits there and throws interceptions, like they're just going to leave him in. What does it matter to them? Why do they care? They just tank, lose games, just get the most out of the contract, and then release him, and then he'll move on. You know, it's such an awful situation for Cleveland. It really is. And they have no motivation to do anything otherwise. That's why every other one of these single options, like Boston, Concepcion, Judge Judy, Harold Fannin, like the whole team should be depressed because of what's going on, you know? So it's just an unfortunate situation. You might be right about Shador, but I don't think it's going to happen as soon as you think.
It's going to happen.
I don't know. The whole booing thing, it's just going to be it'll just continue, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I'm going to enjoy
They
it.
might start the season 1-5, let's just say, and then I think that's when they're going to basically, at that point, that team is mathematically eliminated from making the playoffs. To be honest, so then at that point, that's when they throw them in.
Maybe. Maybe. Well, they're not mathematically eliminated at 1-5. They're
I
going to
know,
be
but I'm saying that team is mathematically eliminated at 1-5. They're not running the table.
no, but mathematically eliminated matters. They are not going to throw Shador in until they're 2-9 or
They
something.
are mathematically eliminated in that division to
Oh,
make the playoffs.
well, by now they're mathematically eliminated already. That's so bad. And by the
Yeah.
way, I mean, we're gonna a week or two, we'll give you the exact dates when we get into our final rankings and our final tiers and when we do the final injury roundup and all that. Um, Judkins is going to be lower on our list. He just is. I mean, it's just what else can you make of this? It's just a horrible, horrible situation. The whole
Yeah, and
team
in one se- in one on one team
and their
in
offensive
my
line is terrible too.
on
Like,
one team in my fantasy league, I had Judkins and I had Scadaboo in the ninth round to keep, and I obviously kept Scadaboo over
that's
Judkins
not
because
even
of
a
the
thought.
situation.
I don't care how negative I feel about the Giants at the moment. It's not even close, man. The Browns are just
You're not going to feel negative after 3 weeks. You're going to be fine.
all right. Here's a I want to jump to the draft, but real quick, just a fun thing. Who finishes with a worse record this year? The Browns, the Cardinals, or the Jets?
The Browns.
You think the Browns or the
Yeah.
Dolphins? We'll throw the Dolphins in there.
I think the Dolphins are gonna. I mean, yeah. I mean, they have a really bad team. Personally, they're a really bad defense, but I think honestly, the Browns, because of the offense not being able to push the ball as much on down the field, I think that's going to be.
I I also think, and I agree with you, and I think that seeing their commitment towards losing this season by doing what they did, like, yeah, it's the
Yeah.
Browns. I think it's the Browns. I think the
If they
Cardinals,
make a switch, then I could say the
which they won't.
Dolphin. If they make a switch, I think the Dolphins will be the worst team in football.
I could see the Dolphins. The Jets are bad too, so we'll see.
I
Um,
don't think the Jets are as bad as you're pursuing. So
do we want to jump into some mock draft action here?
let's jump into some mock draft
Oh,
action
why don't you
here.
set it up for the ladies and gentlemen here?
So we are doing a 12 team half PPR mock draft.
Ooh,
We
where would you
have
like me to draft here on
I'm in
this?
the 12 spot. Billy can choose where he's going to be. And
I'm
basically it's a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, two flex. So it's a full flex there. Not super flex, but full flex, meaning wide receiver, running back, tight end,
gonna pick in the
defense,
ninth
and then there's
position.
six bench spots.
It's totally random
Billy's in
now.
the ninth. I'm in the 12th spot. And let me just make sure real quick. Oh, I didn't want to make a copy. Oh my God.
So
Um,
this is double flex. This is very interesting. It's going to inflate wide receiver value a little bit, which we like.
mhm.
So we're excited. I'm ready to
Yep.
go when you are.
Half point PPR is there. Let me just do this. What's going on here? We're going to start draft and it begins.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
Christian McCaffrey goes one.
Right.
Then
He's
Jameer
recovered
get
from his tightness.
Yep.
So
Christian McCaffrey goes to one. Jameer Gibbs, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, not Brian Robinson, goes to team four. Jonathan Taylor, St. Brown, Puka Nacua, Cook, and Billy's on the clock.
yeah. So we again, it I think most people here would be going JSN, but we're not most people. We have JSN a little bit lower on our list, but not as low as kind of we had last year. But I definitely would prefer CD or Justin Jefferson here, but I don't want to grab them here. I want to grab a running back.
Uh,
And I wanted to grab Genti, but given what happened, do we know that he's going to be ready week one? Is that official?
uh, there's a high chance that he will be ready for week one, and it's a great matchup. So, I think they're saying like 80% right now. I don't like that,
I
but
know
it is what it is.
it's depressed it slightly, unfortunately. So I think I'm gonna go Saquon here, Safequan as we like to say. There's no world where Saquon busts,
Yes.
especially when
Great
AJ
pick.
Brown's leaving. I'm gonna take Saquon here. JSN goes, Genti goes, unfortunately to Tommy. Now
Mm.
Tommy's on the clock.
And
This
now
is
I'm
gonna be interesting where you go here.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this might be the first time I go back to back wide receiver and just mash it up here. I mean, CD Lamb falls to me at the 12th pick right here, and Justin Jefferson's there as well too. I feel really good about both of those guys. I'm just not ever too happy about taking two wide receivers back to back to start the draft because obviously running back, as we say and we know, is one of the most important positions in fantasy football.
The most,
Yep.
yeah.
Um, but you know what? I want to just obviously because this is a mock, I want to see how this team is gonna would progress if I went to back to back. So I'm gonna take CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson and pass on Derrick Henry and those other guys that I'm big on. After that, Devon Achane goes, Chris Brown goes, and Billy's on the clock.
Chris Brown, Chase Brown. He does another album. All
Hmm.
right, so I'm back on the clock here, and it's unfortunate that those two wide receivers came off because I definitely would have wanted one of them. So I'm back here, and the running backs definitely some good options. It's unfortunate the running backs that did come off the board are definitely much more for PPR, Chase Brown and Devon Achane, but Hampton's on the board, Henry's on the board here, Ken Walker's on the board, but I definitely think I want an elite wide receiver, and so I haven't. Tommy and I have had some conversations. I haven't fully thought through the difference between Drake London and Nico Collins. And I think I landed on I prefer Nico Collins because of the quarterback play, which by the way, Michael Penix still is now been cleared for I think he for practice or something. We'll look that up going on.
Yeah,
Two
he's
has been
cleared.
two has been so bad that if Michael Penix shows any promise, I think Michael Penix ends up winning the job, Tommy. So, I mean, we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. I mean, I could see that happening, but again, when he starts making mistakes, then Tua is gonna be thrown back in there. It's gonna be a back and forth battle. It's gonna be a week in, week out of them deciding who's gonna be your quarterback.
Yeah. Now I should note that AJ Brown is here, but we're a little bit lower on AJ Brown than consensus, or at least I am anyway. So I'm gonna go with Nico Collins here because I like the pick and
I'm
oh
surprised you're
rules.
passing on Kenneth Walker.
I am well, it's a double flex, so
Yep.
go with Nico Collins here. So following him, Drake London, AJ Brown, Omarion Hampton, Derrick Henry, Josh Allen, Brock Bowers, Josh Jacobs, last pick of the second round on the way back, Kyron Williams, uh, Jeremiah Love, George Pickens, Chris Olave, Malik Neighbors, Rashee Rice, Devontae Smith, Lamar Jackson, and I'm on the clock. And wouldn't you know, um, I can grab a good running back if I want to. We'll see if it works. So At the wide receiver position, there's some interesting names here. By the way, I'm just looking at the wide receivers. One of our boys, Emeka Ibuka, there's no guarantee he's ready for the start of the season either.
No, he'll be
Given the
ready.
bad vibes going on right
He'll
now.
be ready. He'll be ready.
Okay. So, on the clock here, T. Higgins is available, but we know me. My rule is I will never have T. Higgins on my team again. I don't care how good he does. He'll just won't be on my team when it happens. That's just it
Okay.
is what it is.
Okay, just pass on him then.
I'm going to end up passing on him. Thanks for asking. Um, Ladidi's here. I don't want to grab a Buka here. Maybe we'll see on the way back. There's also some good wide receivers on the way back too. I think I'm going to stick at the running back position. Brees Hall is going to be back from a groin injury that he had. It wasn't that serious.
Hmm.
I like Brees Hall a lot better than the other names here. I'm going to go with Brees Hall. I just like it here. I'm going to go Brees Hall. Um,
Right after that, Ted McMillan goes, Lad McConkey goes, and I'm on the clock. So, I don't have a running back, and I'm not sure if I would honestly like, taking Javonte Williams and obviously CeeDee Lamb, could, in sight be a good,
incite violence.
incite violence on my roster. I'm just not sure if I want to double up so much and just have put double down on the on Dallas's offense. Even though we do foresee them having a really good year, I'm not sure if I want to play that game as much. Cam Scatterboo is there. There's some other players that I'm really, intrigued about. Obviously, here's the other thing: David Montgomery has jumped up the board by a round and a half. So he is there. He is not your late fifth, early sixth round pick anymore. So. Um, he's basically where I perceive him to should be going, and I'm not sure if I want to pay for him right now on that. So I know I went wide receiver, wide receiver. I have zero running backs right now. I'm going to start with Cam Scatterboo. I feel really good about him. I think that was a good signing by taking on Najee Harris, and I don't think that's going to take anything really away from Cam. I think Cam he won that job, and that's the player that basically Harbaugh wants back there to run the ball. He wants a grinder, and obviously Najee Harris is a grinder as well too. But Mr. Firework guy over there, who knows if he's 100%? I know he can block. Hopefully, I just think he's going to be the RB2.
Mr. Fireworks.
Yeah, I think he's just going to
Our
be the
nickname for him was Cyclops, if you remember.
Cyclops. Yeah. I think he's gonna be the RB2 over there. So, I think Scatterboo is a solid RB1 for me right now. After that, obviously Trey McBride's there and there's a couple other options, but I'm feeling stronger and stronger about a player that I talked earlier on, Garrett Wilson. This he'll be my third wide receiver.
Great pick.
And I only have one running back. And this is very, very this is not no, this is not like me right here, but I'm gonna go three wide receivers to start the board and then have one running back. I'm gonna take Garrett Wilson with my back end 4-1 pick. After that, Trey McBride goes, Travis Etienne goes, and Billy's on the clock.
Yeah. By the way, because there might have been a comment about this, we are going to continue. We are going to continue to pronounce his name as Travis Etienne. Okay.
Hmm.
I don't care what they do on TV. I don't care. Now, let's be clear about this. The reason that we're saying this is not because we're being intolerant or we're not going to pronounce people's last names. Lord knows I have a crazy last name. It's because he himself had said that's how you pronounce my name before magically he comes to New Orleans. Okay. And by the way, for anybody, Mr. New Orleans here, okay, even in French, this new Achan thing, that's not how you pronounce his name in French. It isn't. In French, it's uh Etienne, not Achan, it's Etienne. So get over it. We're pronouncing it like this. Don't care. Okay.
Travis Etienne
Yeah.
and
You can't
Trevor Etienne.
you can't go on TV for X amount of years and say this is how you pronounce my name, and then all of a sudden, no, actually, how you pronounce my name. No, no, no. You don't get to do that. Okay. Sorry. Moving on.
Yes.
So I'm on the clock here, and I like some of the receiver options. I'm actually happy Tommy took Garrett Wilson because then I'd be doubling up on Jets, which is never a good thing to do. Some of the running back options are pretty good, but I really want to grab Ibuka here. I'm going to assume he's okay for week one. It's a mock, we'll get more information as it comes through. But if Ibuka is playing week one, I feel like I'm feel very, very happy about him here. We basically have him as, if not a wide receiver one, a very borderline wide receiver one from rankings perspective. I'm gonna grab Ibuka here happily. So I hope he's okay. Following Ibuka, Javonte Williams, Bucky Irving, T. Higgins, DeAndre Swift, Colston Loveland, Zay Flowers, DJ Moore, David Montgomery, last pick of the fourth on the way back, Jalen Waddle, Quinshawn Judkins, Travion Henderson, Jamison Williams, Drake May, Joe Burrow, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, and I'm back on the clock. One thing I wanted to
Yeah, team
mention,
one is loaded up. Christian McCaffrey, Jacobs, Kyron Williams, Montgomery, and Waddle. Oof, that's good.
right?
That's a nice
So
start.
Jamison Williams is moving up my board, Tommy, because we have some injury situations coming out of Laporta.
Yeah.
Now,
And Jameson Williams came out and saying, I'm the best wide receiver in the league. So
did Amon Ra go and, like get mad at him after?
I don't
Because
know. I mean,
Amon
yeah.
Ra has thought he's the best player in the league the second he got into the league,
Well,
and
it's
at least he
nice. It's
goes and
nice to
tries to
have
prove it. I
it's
mean,
nice to have two players that believe they're perceive they're the best wide receiver in the league on the same team. So
I know, but Jameson really didn't take off until Laporta got injured last year. So we'll monitor that. If Laporta starting the season injured, I'm going to be very in on Jameson Williams. He's going to move
hmm
right up the board. All right, so I'm on the clock here. Some of the names on here. We've got the Bears situation, which I told you we're all on the Rome side. We got Christian Watson, we got Mike Evans, Brian Thomas, Parker Washington. By the way, if Jacoby Myers starts the season injured, I'm going to be all on Parker Washington, by the way. So we'll monitor Jacoby Myers' injury situation too. At the running back position, sitting at the top of the ADP is probably where I'm going to be going here. I mean, you got Jadarian Price just staring at me. He's been, if it's a fifth round pick, to me, it's automatic. It's really very good there. I should mention, by the way, Chuba's injured, so I'm kind of fading a little bit on Chuba. And the vibes coming out of Carolina are not good in that whole situation. So we'll monitor that. I'm gonna grab Jadarian Price here, and we'll see what comes around at the wide receiver position for me.
after that, Mike Evans goes, Luther Burden goes, and I'm on the clock. So I'm not taking Bashal Tutin here as my RB2. Um, as you and I both know, I'm not. I think Bashal is going to have a lot of opportunity. I just don't think he's going to capitalize on the opportunity as much as everybody's really
I,
anticipating him to.
I do, but all right.
That's fine. You can believe that. Um, so there are a lot of players right here in the wide receiver room. This is why I'm really not happy about, what I did when it comes down to
I
taking
think you're
two.
fine, to be
I think I'm
honest.
fine. I
But
mean,
you
there's
better,
there's
but like the bet you made on Cam Scatterbo, if it comes through, this would be a great
no,
situation.
no, 100%. I mean, but here's the thing. I feel like I need to grab a running back here again, and a lot of it is pretty much reaching. Some of them are seventh round players that I'm going to have to reach for, get the players that you need or you feel like you want on your roster. But I'm gonna try something else. I'm completely off of the Christian Watson train. I'm not basically adding another wide receiver here with that. Um oh man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. All right, so
If you want, I could give you 2 seconds to think. I just wanted to
no,
comment.
I don't need
Oh,
I
oh,
don't
you,
I don't I don't
oh,
need any.
okay,
All right, so the running back that I'm going to shoot for here is first one is Ramondre Stevenson.
okay.
Ramondre Stevenson basically is the RB1 as of right now on the on
Still
the depth
is.
chart. He still is. He's been looking good in camp. He's been, basically projected to be the number one guy there. Obviously, I do think that's going to shy away. It's going to fade through the season, stuff like that, because Ramondre is, 38 years old, 39 years old,
He's
46
not.
years
He's
old.
not. He's
Um,
younger than Jacobs, I think. Yeah.
yeah, but Ramondre Stevenson, he's still a good running back. I'm not going to put anything past him. Is he the least sexiest pick here? 100%. But he is what you need there. And another play that I'm going to miss on if I don't take him now is Rico Dowdle. I feel very,
Yeah,
very
he's
strong
such a
about
Rico
Rico
guy.
this year. I think he's going to have a
Uh,
massive year. I think he's going to overtake the role at running back there. Right after that, Roma Duce goes and Jaden Daniels goes and Billy's on the clock.
I would have wanted Roma Dunze here. It would have been an easy pick for me, but I was counting on him coming back, but it happens. He didn't come back. So I'm on the clock here. I'm definitely going to grab a wide receiver, and I have to decide which one I want to take. And I'm torn between a couple picks here. Christian Watson, I think it might end up being the pick here. The lead quote unquote receiver in Green Bay. And I told you, Tommy, I definitely want to at least in drafts try to end up each draft with a shot at the Green Bay wide receiver room. I think they're going to have to throw a lot, and I like, I like that there's a bit more of a consolidation in targets to the three main guys instead of five or six of them. So there's Christian Watson's there. Like we said, Brian Thomas and Parker Washington are available. It's difficult to invest in any one of them, but if Jacoby Myers is out with an injury, it's easier to make that thing. Marvin Harrison is here, um, who I like we said, this is it. He has to. This is it. I'm willing to give him one more shot, but this is it. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Christian Watson.
The guy cannot play a full season.
I'm going to take Christian Watson here. I'm going to go for the upside and see how it looks. I'm going to go Christian Watson here
You know what's so funny is you're on the Christian Watson train, but you're so against T. Higgins.
because it's just been so many.
You can't even articulate that.
Yes, I can. But the thing is, I would need more than 10 seconds to do it. The long story short therein is like having him on your team is such a headache. I had him on my team for two different leagues last year, and every single week I was trying to trade him and capitalize on the name of T. Higgins. If you have a person on your team who you actively want to get off your team, then it's not a recipe for it. And he's going to do the exact. I don't care if he scores 20 points in five straight games. He's going to end up every single week with a Q. You're not
Okay.
going to know if he's going to play anyway. Let's keep going. So I made my pick Christian Watson, Ty Warren's off the board, Bashal Tutin, Jalen Warren, Sam Laporta, Jalen Hurts, Tucker Kraft, Carnell Tate, Kyle Pitts on the way back, Brian Thomas, Parker Washington, Cortland Sutton, Marvin Harrison, Chuba Hubbard, RJ Harvey, Caleb Williams, Tony Pollard. Now I'm back on the clock. I really love that I chose the ninth pick because I'm reading all the names on the swing every single time. Uh, so at the running back position, J.K. Dobbins is just sitting there staring at us. I mean, he's going to have a very good start to the year. At the wide receiver position, I mean, I feel like at this point, now I just want to point out, and Tommy might make this pick. We'll see. I don't care. It's for mock purposes. Chris Godwin is moving up my board, by the way, a lot. So I'm actually interested in Chris Godwin if he makes it on the way back. But I'm going to grab DK Metcalf here. God bless. We'll see if this doesn't end up becoming something that we hate. So I'm going to go DK Metcalf here.
After that,
You could read those names.
yep, Harold Fanning goes, Justin Herbert goes, and I'm on the clock. So this is where I'm actually going to take J.K. Dobbins without any question. So my running back room right now is Scadaboo, Stevenson,
It's looking better.
Daddle, and J.K. Dobbins. So it's building up for what I started with, and I feel really good about that early start with some of those guys. Um, the other, so here's the other thing, like, the running back position is going to fade drastically after this round. It just there's not much left for you to say, hey, I could plug in this guy week in, week out based on the scenario. So here I am. Basically, I have four running backs right now in a double flex half point PPR. Um, Obviously, high volume wide receiver is going to be super, super valuable for that flex position. And there are going to be some shots that you could take to actually get some of those guys on your roster, later in the draft. So I might stick with, Chris Godwin obviously is sitting there, and I'm really, really strong about him. And I think that he could be a fantastic wide receiver for my roster. Um, so like I'm right now tossed between Chris Godwin and then there you have Blake Corum over there, who's I think is going to have a 50-50 role to an extent, but I do think they're going to favor Williams, Kyron Williams a little bit more. Obviously, he's going to get more of the targets and basically the touches on the ground. Jordan Mason is another one that I'm looking at as well too. We do believe that Jordan Mason is going to overtake that role. And then Kenny Galladay is another one right there. Sorry, not Kenny Galladay. Kenny Gainwell is another guy. Stay away from Kenny Galladay. But Kenny Gainwell is another one that basically I'd be interested in basically plugging as my running back five. Um, but going to this right here, I do believe that I want to have a little bit more balance right now, and then I can have a little bit more depth down the road. So I'm gonna go with Chris Godwin. I think that he is, the depth that I need at wide receiver. And then I'm going to hope that there is a running back
Mhm.
that will stick. And it looks like not, because after that, Quorum goes and Jonathan Brooks goes and Billy's on the clock, and he's probably taking a running back.
I really wanted I really wanted Godwin there, but
Yeah, that's what
will not
happens.
will not come to pass. Yeah, I'm gonna grab a running back here, a guy that
Jordan
we're
Mason.
no, guy that we're high on for for this, especially in the PPR thing, and the vibes and
Oh.
everything else. I'm gonna grab Kenny Gainwell here.
Mm.
And following him, here comes the encyclopedia. So Makai Lemon, Alec Pierce, Kyle Monangai, Mike Wilson, Jordan Tyson, Ja'Cory Okrosky Merritt, Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence is off the board. He's been my darling in late rounds. On the way back, Michael Pittman, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Mason, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Dalton Kincaid, Matt Stafford, Jordan Addison, and now I am on the board. So. Um, I'm pretty equal here. I got four running backs. I got four wide receivers. So I could go really any route here. I'm leaving myself open. My Trevor Lawrence pick, who I've been grabbing in the ninth, who probably I would have went here. I can't get him now. So I might wait a round or two for a different person. Looking at some of my options here, I am, not so crazy about some of the wide receiver options. I probably could wait on, maybe take a shot later at the running back position. Man, this is where it starts getting ugly at this point here. Um, where are you on the Minnesota backfield, by the way, between Mason and Jones?
I think Jordan Mason is going to win it. Jones, I think he's going to be utilized in, the passing game a little bit more. But I think it's pretty much a 50-50 share there.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I think what I'll do is stop wasting time and I'm gonna take. Oh man, some of the options here are like not good anymore. Um, Back at the wide receiver position, they got. I don't want to take Jaden Reed because I already grabbed Christian Watson. The other options are like not that good. Yeah, I mean, Stribling, I'll keep my eye on for a later round. I think the only running back that I'm seeing with any upside is Woody Marks here, which I'm sure probably annoyed Tommy. I don't know if he had him on the radar.
No,
Uh, all right, I'll take Woody Marks here.
good
Because
luck
I
with
need
that
to
one.
figure out running back. Um,
After that, the Rams defense goes, Jackson Dart goes, and I'm on the clock. So I'm still looking to build on the running back room a little bit more. I do think that my wide receiver room is, pretty much stacked there. I do, in a draft like this where, I have six bench spots, I do want to obviously have at least anywhere from 5 to 6 wide receivers in this kind of
there are
format. But
five bench spots.
no, there's six. There's
Maybe
six
I'm
bench
blind.
spots.
Okay.
But, in all reality, I kind of want to always have the opportunity at running back to make sure that I have somebody, in depth at that position because of the season is a very long season. So, I'm going to pass on a wide receiver right now because as we know that there are, opportunities down the road with some of these wide receivers. And I'm going to look at the running back room. And then I actually might take a shot at tight end. Who knows? Or quarterback. We'll see
Who
at one of those
knows?
one of the positions. But I my shot that I'm going to take here, there's, Rashad White and there's also Chris Rodriguez. Aaron Jones, obviously, he's Aaron Jones. He's going to be a PPR opportunity there. Um, but I do believe Chris Rodriguez, coming back into it right now, he's going to start overtaking the red zone touches. He's going to get a lot of touchdowns when they get inside there. I'm a little nervous about Rashad White, with his ice bucket challenge that he did last week. Who knows if his Achilles is toast or whatever the case is. Nothing
He's
really has
hurt.
come out.
JCM is hurt. I mean,
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Chris Rodriguez here. I think that he's going to have a really nice role in that offense this year. Um, and then basically, I think I can pass on quarterback a little bit more, and try to shoot from an 11th round. So I'm going to see what I got here at tight end. And there are a couple good options as well, too. I think some of these guys actually I can make do. Whenever I say that, I usually shoot myself in the foot. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take, a really strong quarterback. I haven't really spoken about him much this year because we've been pushing on the Kyler and also the Mayfield, role there. But I think Bo Nix in this round is a really good, for ADP wise. I think this is a really nice pick here. Doesn't mesh up with anybody that I have out there. Obviously, I could have waited on Kyler, but I'm going to take Bo Nix here with my 10-1 pick. Think he has really good upside this year, especially with what they brought talent wise. Then you got Josh Downs and Aaron Jones and Billy's on the clock.
I'm gonna take yeah, and I'm gonna take Baker Mayfield here, and we do have Baker Mayfield ranked higher than Bo Nix anyway for us,
Yeah.
which is fine. But like we're trying different things. I just mentioned before I make the pick, like we really do like we don't want to undersell it though. The part of why that's the case is we just love Baker Mayfield and we love the opportunity this year and everything else. It's one of the issues that Denver has, and it's really the only issue because they have everything set up for success for them. They have a great O line, great defense. He's good. They pass a lot. Sean Payton, etc. Great options, Waddle, whatever. Their opening schedule sucks. Just sucks. They're opening the season playing Kansas City, for example.
Mhm.
So the last thing
I
that
think
you
Kansas
want,
City's secondary has weakened up a little bit.
they went and drafted, that kid that they went above and beyond. Andy Reid went to make sure that they go get him. Like, they're going to be a good defense. Are they top five? Maybe not, but they're going to be a very good defense. The point is that you want to get off to a hot start because it gives you way more flexibility in how you handle your fantasy season. And unfortunately, Denver, as good as they are as a team, doesn't look like they're going to get to, from a fantasy perspective, off to a lot of good stuff. So I'm going to take Baker here happily, and here comes the names after that: Jaden Reed, Wandell Robinson, Patrick Mahomes himself, the Texans defense, Jacoby Myers, Isaiah Likely, Jake Ferguson, Deshaun Stribling, who I was keeping my eye on, but he's gone now. The Seattle Seahawks defense: Stephon Diggs, Casey Concepcion, Brock Purdy, Rashad White, Mark Andrews. The Denver Broncos defense: Matt Golden. And now I'm back on the clock myself. And some interesting wide receiver names to, you know, shots that you want to take that you could possibly take a shot on. But I'm actually going to grab a tight end here. I was actually thinking about maybe earlier. I'm going to grab Dallas Goedert, who I think has a
Oh,
huge opportunity for this year.
see,
But
we stole one from each other. That's the player that
uh,
I was looking for. He's the touchdown machine of that offense right now through the passing game.
yeah.
After that, Xavier Worthy goes Romeo Dobbs, who did not get cut by or traded by or signed. He did get signed by the New England Patriots, and then I'm back on the clock. I think this is an easy one for me. I'm going to start with Debo Samuel. I think he's going to have a
Yeah,
massive year.
I think you're so
Um,
wrong on that one, man.
well, I'm so right. And he's my fifth wide receiver on my roster. After that, basically, at this point, I might just punt tight end, and grab the guy that I think is going to have a pretty good season in the next 13th or 14th round around that range. Um, you know, Tyler Algier is sitting there at running back. I think he's going to have obviously a massive role on the offense. ADP wise, I think this is a really nice position here. But I do also, I want to, what I'm actually going to do here though is, I got Jonah Coleman. I'm going to take a shot on Jonah Coleman because of J.K. Dobbins, having him on my roster. I want to have that backfield, even though I have Bo Nix. Then I have basically J.K. Dobbins and Jonah Coleman. So I think Jonah Coleman is going to basically get later in the season opportunities out there and just it be a nice handcuff to that specific kind of running game right there. Because R.J. Harvey is not the same style of runner as Jonah Coleman and J.K. Dobbins. So they're two different kind of players. So I'm going to take Jonah Coleman there. After that, Tyrone Tracy, who's the RB3 on the Giants right now, and then Tyler Algier goes, and Billy's on the clock.
That made me laugh. Um, yeah, I'm looking at the wide receiver options here, and at this point in the draft, like you don't have to worry so much about ADP. So I'm just scrolling through about like who I think would have, high upside shots or whatever. And the buzz out of camp has been fever pitch for the guy I'm going to name, and there's no guarantee that it takes off. There's no guarantee that it turns into anything. But the next wide receiver superstar out of Kansas City is an option. So I'm going to
Yeah,
go with Cyrus Allen. I'll take the shot. Maybe it doesn't. I could always cut him. We'll see. We'll see what happens with it.
I don't think you're going to.
The Eagles defense, Zach Charbonnet. The Patriots defense, Khalil Shakir. The Ravens defense, Jared Goff. Jalen Coker, Kyler Murray on the way back. Oronde Gadsden. The Vikings defense, Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara, Isaiah Pacheco. Denzel Boston, Hunter Henry, Marshawn Lloyd, who could have a very good season this year. We don't know exactly what's going on with Josh Jacobs just yet.
Hmm.
And I'm back on the clock. So I'm gonna grab my defense here, just get out the way. Jacksonville's been my go-to defense because they open at home against the Cleveland Browns. So we
That's a
already
good
talked
start.
about the Browns earlier.
After that, Mr. Strange, Doctor Strange himself goes, Brenton Strange, and then you got what is it? I want to pronounce his name correctly again. Um, Jacoby Lane. Yeah,
Okay.
Jacoby Lane goes, and I'm on the clock.
Right.
So,
Or as
uh,
Travis Etienne would pronounce, Jackby Lane.
yeah.
Like, I mean, come on.
So there's two tight ends that I'm really interested in this year. One I'm right now I'm favoring the start of the season, and because the other one I could probably grab, in a couple weeks, potentially based on, scenario based. The first one is, obviously, Juwan Johnson. I'm going to take him at this pick here. I'm going to talk about the other guy real quick though. Um, Obviously Chig, Okonkwo. That is somebody that I'm very, very high on through
You
the
love him.
season. I think he's going to be a massive pick, for people, if you don't draft him, he's going to be out there. He's going to be massively invested into that offense. And he's a very ultra talented, he's a big athlete. He's a good athlete. So I think he's going to have a nice connection. But I want to go with the player that's going to have the more camaraderie with their quarterback, and obviously with Tyson being out, opens the door for Juwan Johnson to be successful. So I'm going to take Juwan Johnson with my tight end role right there. And let's see. I can wait on defense because at this point everybody's got a defense. There's no reason to play that game except for one team. So I'll be able to grab somebody there. Um, with my back end pick right here, I know I took Jonah Coleman, so basically that's taking two players from one roster right there. So I consider that as a one pick, that's going to sustain my running back room there. I'm going to bounce back into the running back room because I want to have a little bit more depth there. Um, so I like Brian Robinson in Atlanta, but the only way that he's basically going to see opportunity is basically if Bijan gets hurt. One of the biggest players that I do like here, in taking a shot here is basically Tajay Spears. I've been on the Spears train for the past forever. They're going to be
You
passing the
have?
ball a lot. He's going to be a vocal point in that offense when it comes down to the passing game. He's not atypically your running back, that's going to run up the, inside the A gap, B gap, C gap. He's going to basically be somebody that's going to be a scat back that's going to be back there catching some balls. So I think in a PPR format or half point PPR format, he has some value. And Tajay Spears is going to be my sixth running back drafted. And then after that, Malik Washington goes, Jordan Loves and Billy's on the clock.
Yeah, I know who I'm going to take, and I just wanted to give it a little bit of lip service to the handcuff running backs. And, the way we handle it at the draft is, not that dissimilar to how we handle it for most of the year, which is we would not advocate against drafting any single handcuff running back unless it is absolutely clear that that's the guy. And if given the opportunity, he's going to perform very, very well. And fortunately, since my number one running back is Saquon Barkley, there's a very clear handcuff to him. I'm going to grab him here in the 14th round. That's Tank Bigsby. So following Tank Bigsby, Keaton Mitchell, Brian Robinson, Travis Hunter, Jalen Naylor, Kalen Black, the Chargers defense, Tyler Shook, Mike Washington, who could have a great opportunity this year on the way back, Tank Dell, Dylan Sampson, Braylon Allen, um, Jaden Higgins, who's on IR, so good draft by that guy.
Hmm.
Sam Darnold, Nick Singleton, TJ Hawkinson, Kenyon Sadiq, and now I'm back on the clock. Real quick before I make my pick, it'll also help me think. Like, where are you on the wide receivers for Miami? Who finishes the number one wide receiver in Miami? Mike Washington, Chris Bell, or I think Caleb Douglas is the other guy.
I think Dolchich.
Pulisic. Well, wide receiver wise, who do you think?
I think there's going to be a Malik to Malik connection there.
You do
So,
think it's going to be
yeah.
Washington. Well, it's his third year,
But I think
so
Dolchich is going to be the leading receiver.
you think?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to take what is Perhaps the wide receiver one in Las Vegas. We're not sure. It could be Jalen Nailor. I'll go with Trey Tucker, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We'll see. It might not work out. Um,
After that, McMillan goes. So Billy's favorite player of all time. The
I love him.
Steelers go, and I had two defenses queued up. One was the Steelers, and one was the Lions, and I'm going to be taking the Lions.
Now that could be a shootout week one. But we'll see. So my team, you guys let us know who you think won this draft. My team, my quarterback is Baker, running backs is Saquon and Brees Hall, wide receivers is Nico Collins and Abuka, tight end Dallas Goedert. Currently my flexes are Jadarian Price and Christian Watson. I've got the Jaguars defense. On my bench is DK Metcalf, Kenny Gainwell, Woody Marks, Cyrus Allen, and Tank Bigsby.
I am slowly regretting my Bo Nix pick, but it is what it is. The mock draft. I probably should have taken you know, what you call it, Baker Mayfield at this pick here, but it's okay. That's why we call it a mock draft. But my quarterback is Bo Nix, Cam Scattaboo at running back, Reminder Stevenson at running back, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Jawan Johnson, Garrett Wilson, Rico Dowdle. The defense is the Detroit Lions, and then on the bench I have J.K. Dobbins, Chris Godwin, Chris Rodriguez, Debo Samuel, Jonah Coleman, and Tajay Spears.
Well, let us know, everybody, who you think won, who did
I
better,
I
and why
think
it
Billy
was
won
me.
this one. Yeah.
I think I won this one.
Yeah, I think he won this one except for Christian Watson.
Yeah. So we got a lot of good stuff for everybody coming up. So just we'll get to the schedule in just a second, but we always have our last show before the season is always going to kind of be more of a fun hype show. The show before that is when we will do our final rankings and all the injury roundup and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So we'll get to that. So that's not happening this week. So we'll keep an eye on that as it gets closer to the season. We also might do a show where we just kind of talk about players that we love, but we'll get to that too. Closing thoughts, Mr. Lang?
Yeah, truly appreciate everybody that takes the time to watch our video or listen to on Apple Podcasts and watch our shorts on TikTok. If you could please like, share, and subscribe, we truly appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.